big summer book haul. I had to get Sven some carrots. Damn it, now my mouth is full. So if you have not seen Frozen, you'll probably think I am pretty strange right now, but I am okay with that. Let's just go with it. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Joss and welcome back to my channel, Squibblesreads. Today I have for you a big summer book haul. So I've been on a book buying ban for a couple months, and so far it has been going pretty good, but I did manage to acquire a good number of books because when I unhaul my books, I take them to a used bookstore in my neighborhood and they give me store credit for the books that they are willing to resell. So I got some books with the store credit that they gave me, and I also got a few from publishers. So out of all the books that you're going to see today, I only purchased one with, I guess, new money out of my wallet, which I think is pretty good. The first book that I have is a short story collection called How to Breathe Underwater by Julie Oranger. It is about the humiliations, desperations, and victories of youth, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot more than that. So recently I just read A Guide to Being Born by Ramona Osubel, which was a suggestion for a buddy read from Rachel with Reader and the Right, and that was probably the best short story collection I've ever read in my whole life. Each short story was only 15 pages long, but every single word was calculated and nuanced, and I adored it, and she also really liked this collection, so I bet I will like it too. I also have Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. I actually met Eleanor Herman at BEA where she was doing a signing, and she was actually wearing a crown at her signing, and at her signing I didn't know anything about her, but I was like, that lady is slaying, so I really need a copy of her book. So the book that I got from BEA is actually a galley of her second book in the Blood of Gods and Royal series called Empire of Dust. So of course I did have to get the first one before I read the second one. This is apparently a YA blend of historical fiction and fantasy that is a retelling of the life of Alexander the Great when he was a teenager, so I will have to try this one out and let you guys know how I like it. If you guys remember, also from my BEA book haul, I did meet Frederick Bachman at BEA, who is such a sweetheart and took so much time to talk to me at his signing, and from that used bookstore I managed to snag a signed copy of his novel, My Grandmother Told Me to Tell You She's Sorry. Like his other books, this is a very heartwarming contemporary. It is about a girl named Elsa, and yes, her name is Elsa, which totally fits into the Frozen theme, but basically her grandmother, who has kind of been a little bit rad and eccentric and cool, she has unfortunately just passed away, but she leaves Elsa a collection of letters that goes through different times in her life and incorporates some fairy tales. I've heard that this one is super unique and stands out even amongst his other books, and I'm always happy to read something new by Frederick Bachman. I heard about this next book from Olive over at Book Olive. This is one of her favorites, and it is called Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. This takes place in 1937 in Greenwich Village, and we are at a jazz bar with 25-year-old Katie, and she encounters Tinker, who is a handsome banker. I believe this covers way more than just romance. It is great historical fiction, and Olive really loves it, so I definitely had to try it. I also got a copy of Shine, Shine, Shine by Lydia Netzer, and I believe I heard about this one on Mercedes' channel. This is about a couple named Sunny and Maxon. So they are living what people believe to be a perfect life as a couple, but one day Sunny's perfect hair actually blows away in the wind, and it is revealed that it is a wig. Maxon, on the other hand, is an astronaut and is on his way to colonize the moon. As the story unravels, some dark secrets and old murders are revealed. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what to expect from this, but I think it's going to be like a contemporary with some sci-fi. Then I picked up Wool by Hugh Howey. This is a dystopian novel with some sci-fi elements to it about a distant time in the future where everyone lives in silos because the air outside is toxic, and that's pretty much all that I know about it because I think the blurb on the back is very intentionally vague. I also got The Vacationers by Emma Straub. Her new novel, Modern Lovers, has just come out a couple of weeks ago, but I figured that I would start with this one. This seems like a very summary novel about the lives of the members of the Post family who are on a 2-week summer vacation on the island of Majorca. Next, I have The Ecliptic by Benjamin Wood, which is about an artist's refuge off of the coast of Istanbul called Portmantle. We have a woman named Nell who is a struggling artist who has failed to find her vision and her passion amongst the art scene in 1960s London, so she goes to Portmantle to kind of try and reinvigorate that fire. During her time there, she encounters a boy whose name is Fullerton, and he is a young writer who experiences some strange nightmares and daydreams, and she gets caught up in his turmoil and his mystery. I'm super excited about this one because I love books about creativity. I love books that take place in kind of like a school/institutional setting, and obviously mysteries, but I think this book is very unique, so I'm excited to try it. The next book I have here is The Singing Bone by Beth Hahn. It takes place in 1979, where we follow a girl named Alice, who is just trying to find her way, but unfortunately somewhere along the lines she meets Jack, who is the head of this cult-like group. One night they get involved in some debauchery and it turns out to be a night that is full of murders. She ends up testifying at the trial for his conviction, and 20 years later Alice is just trying to start a quiet new life, but she encounters a filmmaker who threatens to destroy her and expose what has actually happened on that night. Jack has never forgiven Alice for testifying against him, and he has been plotting to overturn his conviction, so we also follow his story, and dear God, I am so stoked for this. One book that I did purchase in the past few months is called Bestiary by Lily Huang, and it was specifically recommended to me by Jen from Jen Campbell, and if Jen recommends me a book, I'm like 99.9% sure that I will enjoy it. But this is a collection of essays surrounding Huang's upbringing as a Vietnamese woman. It also discusses her sister's death, and her sister was addicted to drugs, and highlights abusive relationships in Huang's own life, somehow using fairy tales and mythology. I don't exactly know how that's going to happen, but I cannot wait to start this book. The next couple books I actually tried out in my Try a Chapter tag, which is basically just a tag where you read the first chapter of a whole bunch of books and you pick one that you want to continue on with. I introduced a whole bunch of books that I really enjoyed, so I'm going to link that video down below for you. But here I have a book called The Border of Paradise by Esme Wei-Jin Wong. This is a multi-generational novel that opens with a man who is pacing his motel room and contemplating suicide. It reveals his story later on, and it turns out that he has inherited a family business but hastily sells it and goes off to Taiwan, where he meets a woman and comes back to the United States to start a family. It goes through what he, his wife, and his children experience in terms of race, socioeconomic status, and the geography in which they live. This next book is actually my favorite book of the year, and I talked a lot more about this in my July wrap-up and August TBR video, which I will also link down below if you want to hear more about this. But this is called The Listener by Rachel Bosch, and it is about a man named Malcolm who is a counselor at a college center for behavioral health, and it opens in a session with a client named Leah, who actually removes her wig and reveals that it is an old client of his who is named Noah. It covers topics like the intricacies of a therapist-client relationship, identity, friends, and bullying. But it is really so much more than that, and I would 100% recommend it. I also got a few ARCs recently, one of which is Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which was one of the most hyped YA galley drops at BEA. I did not get this one there, but Flatiron was so kind as to send it to me because I requested it. Someone recommended it to me in the comment section of my circus-themed books video. It is about a circus-type act called Caraval, and every year these two sisters have a dream to actually go and watch the performance, so they write a letter to the head of Caraval asking if they can go. It is a kind of mystery with circus-themed elements and some magical realism and fantasy, maybe? I'm not quite sure how to describe this, but I'm about 100 pages in and I am really liking it. I also got an ARC of a new release called Gemini by Sonia Mukherjee. It's about two conjoined twins named Clara and Haley who are in high school and are kind of at a crossroads now. They want to take two different paths. One of them wants to stay at home and I guess live kind of like a safer life, and the other one wants to branch out and travel the world. I've seen quite a few books about conjoined twins come out lately. One that comes to mind is One by Sarah Crossan, which is written in verse. I want to see how she manages to approach the topic without it becoming sensationalized, because it's not an Own Voices novel, so I guess we will see. In one of my past Thrillers and More Thursday videos, which I will also link down below, I talked about novels called Snowblind and Nightblind by Ragnar Jonasson. These novels are Nordic noir, which is one of my favorite like sub-genres in the thriller crime mystery zone, I guess. Both of these novels follow a detective named Ari Thor Arison who solves different mysteries in a small fishing village called Siglafjordur on the coast of Iceland. I really enjoy Nordic noir because it has kind of like this creepiness and bleakness because of the setting that you don't really see in other thrillers that are set in the United States, so there are those two. The last book that I have is an ARC of The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is about a cruise ship, and on the cruise ship a woman named Lo sees another lady who is thrown overboard. She reports to the staff of the cruise ship that she thinks this lady is staying in cabin 10, but the staff tells her that there is absolutely no one that has been staying in cabin 10. That is the mystery of the book, and I believe this sounds very Agatha Christie-esque in that it is a closed system and an unreliable narrator, and I've enjoyed a couple of Agatha Christie books in the past couple months, so I cannot wait for this one either. But that is it for this video. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books or what you think of them down in the comment section below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.